Some people build companies, some people build credibility, and some people build inner lives first and let the work follow. I want to start a little differently today. Before we talk about journeys, milestones, or even unhide, I want to begin with how my guest sees the world through stories. Because I've always felt that the way someone understands stories tells you far more about them than their resume ever could. Navneet Ahuja is the founder of Unhide, a visual storytelling studio that has worked across sectors and scales. From global brands and institutions like PepsiCo, Havel, Saint-Gobain, Alstom, EHL, Dunkin', Jubilant Subway, to founders, CXOs, and Padma Shri awardees. But this conversation isn't about the work alone. It's about the individual behind it. Because behind the films, the designs, and the aesthetics is someone who built himself quietly, often without applause and often through discomfort. Born into financial turbulence, raised by two very different parents, shaped by early loss, inner conflict, and long periods of self doubt, a founder who chose therapy before ego, truth before performance, meaning before money. Navneet doesn't believe in creativity is a decoration, he believes it is a responsibility. This episode is not just about how to build a business or a brand, it's about how to build oneself before one shows up to think, create, lead, and unhide. This is Unapologetic Me, and today we unhide the individual behind the work. Navneet, I'm just so glad I finally got the time on your calendar, and all of those permutations, combinations have finally worked. So, welcome.
Thanks, Ekta. It's really good to be here. First and foremost, congratulations for what you are doing with this podcast. I love the kind of guests you have got. Pretty inspirational, I'm sure, for your audience and of course for me. So I'm excited to have a conversation with you, especially given your background of unhiding or unearthing stories from each and everyone you've met. So yep, all set for an hour ahead.
Alrighty, let's go. Navneet, before we talk about your life or your work, I want to ask you this. What does storytelling truly mean to you, and why do stories matter beyond marketing, content, or aesthetics?
Uh, okay, that's a very good question to start with.
All right.
So I think I'll give it to my parents, to be honest with you, or should I say more of my upbringing, where I got exposed to the idea about storytelling.
Mhm.
My dad himself was a first generation entrepreneur, extremely ahead of his time, extremely intelligent.
Mhm.
But in my analysis about him as a son,
Mhm.
I think he could have been far more successful than what he ended up being.
Mhm.
But one thing which I picked from him, especially during my growing up years, was the way he used to look at life, including his work and his losses, his relationships and his dreams, and used to articulate them.
Hmm.
Outstanding is the word. And therefore, there are like, that's the moment where I started picking things unknowingly. You'll be surprised, when I was in class 11th or 12th, he actually gave me a project to create something on education on humanity.
Okay.
This is when I am 17, 16, 17, which is say 1995, 96 period. And he had this very out, like, I don't know, very nice, uh, should I say, path-breaking idea. He said that he will like all schools across the world to have one lecture on religion
Oh, wow.
being given at the same time across the time zone differences. This I'm talking about in 95, 96, 97. And as a result, I loved the idea and I wrote a full 10, 15 page report, which I submitted to him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's the way I started understanding the concept about thinking. So storytelling to me is actually about how you think, how do you articulate, and then how do you present.
Hmm.
Articulation and presentation, with all honesty, is extremely easier to pick because you can listen.
Hmm.
It's the thinking that matters.
Hmm.
So, so that's where I think storytelling started getting inculcated in my persona. That was one part. Second part, of course, his love for movies.
Okay.
Fanatic, fanatic, like absolutely. Like, and you'll be surprised, each movie we used to discuss like analysis. So I remember going with him to watch Om Shanti Om. We finished the movie. We came out. It was me, my friend, and him. And he's asking me, "How did you find the movie?" And I said, "I loved it."
Hmm.
He absolutely rejected it. And then the best part was he used to give very logical reasons. Then I remember we were watching this movie called Yarana. This is the days early in Model Town where we grew up. The family home was there, which is North Delhi. And the movie, like, we had an electricity failure. So we all waited out.
Hmm.
So the electricity came back around 3 in the morning. We ended up watching that movie just to finish.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
next day I went to school, came back, and in the evening we had an analysis. What he
Wow.
liked, what we didn't like. And that analysis was not like a very scientific analysis. It was just a discussion around that.
Do you think
So
he also
that
felt like, as a parent, he had this sense, like a responsibility of also kind of nurturing the thought process in you guys?
no, no. I think this was an individual who found real happiness in talking about movies, talking about ideas, talking about business journeys. It's just that we were his sons. He would
Hmm.
have done the same with anyone in his ecosystem,
Hmm.
right? So that was his role. And so it's like an indirect role of being a father that he was playing, but not a direct role.
Got
And
it.
at the same time, it was my mom who used to bring out stories through her hospitality with the relatives. What
Okay.
to serve, how to serve, why to look after someone,
Hmm.
right? So effectively, if you look at it, everything is nothing but connecting the dots. How do you think was getting inculcated?
Perfect.
And as a result, I started valuing and I still value communication as a very strong trait in
Hmm.
people around me, be it family, friends, colleagues, clients, associates. A lot of time I have been told that I cross the intensity and I actually want to communicate a little more than required. And that's something which I'm working on. But then I do believe ability to think, articulate, communicate is all part of stories.
Hmm.
And lastly, if you look at it, I think given that my mom had a religious side, uh, the way parents, at least during that time, I don't know how it is happening now, were raising their kids was all through stories, right? I'm
Hmm.
born in a Sikh family, so stories around Sikhism, Guru Nanak, taking us to the Gurdwara, trying to make us understand Gurbani. Not that
Hmm.
I understand. Likewise, Ramayan and all. So, I mean, we were surrounded in a non-distracted world, focusing only on stories at
Hmm.
like one story at a time. So, hence the entire love for stories came out. Then has been part of my ability, and I picked up marketing in my MBA. So that exposed my like that allowed me to expose myself a lot more to advertising, branding, communication, positioning, all those concepts. So hence, stories is something which I really enjoy, and I do believe that I like to think before I speak. I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of my friends may not agree. So when you're thinking before you speak, then logically you're making a story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean logically. So yeah, I mean that's how I look at stories, and that's how I yeah. I mean maybe I want to add one more thing. I like to journal. So even when I'm journaling, a lot of times I actually ended up connecting the dots about incident that have happened in past because of which I reached where I am. Now
Okay.
that can only happen when I'm finding some
Yeah.
common underlying theme in those incidents or time period, right? Again,
Yeah.
something which I will say is actually story. It's like start, middle, and end.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. There's something so powerful about the way you frame the entire answer, because I think it moves storytelling away from performance and more towards responsibility, which brings me to this, that you worked across industries, institutions, and individuals. What do all powerful stories have in common, regardless of whether they belong to a brand, a founder, or a human being? What do you think, Namneet?
Oh, that's yep. That's a pretty thought-provoking question. So my understanding is that all good stories or great stories, or for that matter, all the clients I work with,
Hmm.
for that matter, all individuals I interact with, right? They have a very similar expectation that it should leave an impact,
Hmm.
something that leaves a good aftertaste, something that leaves a good thought for you to carry out,
Hmm.
something that you really, really kind of, you end up dissecting,
Yeah.
right? Something that makes you think completely afresh and different.
Hmm.
So all underlying stories is about that, which is creating impact, creating influence, inspiring, and all.
Hmm.
Uh, and as a result, consistently good storytellers get, should I say, excuse me, get known because of that,
Hmm.
right? Like that, you look forward to listening to them, whether on an interview, whether on a podcast, whether in movies, whether in books.
Yeah.
And that consistency is that, okay, there's something which I will take away, either the way that person has written and it has touched my heart, or whether
Hmm.
that person has spoken something that has really opened my mind.
Hmm.
So, yep, the common underlying theme is that it should leave a mark.
Hmm.
All good stories, great
Hmm.
stories, right? And leaving a mark, there has to be one part which is like a litmus test, is that that story is telling something which is relatable to the audience,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Like as human beings, uh, those who are actively seeking spirituality, or
Hmm.
those who want to pass on the spirituality,
Hmm.
religion gives that, religious books or manuscripts or whatever
Hmm.
carry that story, because effectively they're talking about human values. So
Hmm.
all of us do remember them.
Yeah.
Likewise, songs with the right lyrics,
Hmm.
like movies, books. Yeah, they open your imagination,
Yeah.
and yeah, even podcasts. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, right? Like you must have heard that couple of your podcasts. I've also heard they're incredibly well done,
Thank you.
because effectively it's all about leaving that impact, right? There is depth, there is there is an expected uh, there's an expected turn which may come unexpectedly.
Hmm.
Like I know that this thing has to come to some end. If the conversation, there has to be something which is logical, and then it ends, and if it ends well, then of course someone will always carry forward.
Yeah.
And in today's digital age, of course, another aspect where stories come out is personal branding, how well someone actually present themselves, which is himself or herself, right? In form of influencers, in form of a leader, in form of an individual innovator, in form of someone who's writing a paper, say on AI.
Hmm.
Now, those are very personal branding mediums,
Yeah.
correct? They're also the one of the parameters of success is how well they have given it depth. As
Hmm.
a result, how well this connects with the audience,
Yeah.
and as a result, the audience comes back and absorbs the story or the content.
Yeah. All of this boils down to the same thing that you said, that people who've been consistently doing well in storytelling, the audience always waits to listen to them, because do you think that they've learned the art of picking the pulse, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And all stories inherently are simple,
Hmm.
right? Like all stories, it's like, given that I'm a fan of movies, and in a way that I like to watch a lot of movies. If I give that analogy, almost all the movies will have a very underlying common human emotion because of which they hit you and they become a success. And
Mm-hmm.
in case that emotion is there but it's not crafted well, it does not
Yeah.
hit you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's very, very important that for anyone to, I mean, my understanding is for stories to go through, someone has to carry depth.
Yeah.
And depth, of course, comes with, I don't know, with experience, upbringing. Maybe you are lucky to be born in an environment where such conversations are happening.
Hmm.
Or maybe you get into an ecosystem of educational institutions where this is proactively taught.
Hmm.
But critical thinking, meaningful thinking definitely helps
Hmm.
create a story, then weave a story, and then you consistently play.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so through this, what I've understood and what I'm hearing is that substance will always outlive surface, especially in a world that is accelerating every single second. So now my next question to you, Navneet, is that we're living in a time where AI is reshaping how content is created. You did touch upon AI and how the wise and the knowledgeable people can play around with it, making sure that the pulse is still retained. So how do you see AI impacting storytelling, and where do you believe it can never replace human intent, ethics, or emotional truth?
So, if the two, three things are there, AI is very new and still very nascent. Uh, I will speak purely with an experience of being in the storytelling field, which is
Hmm.
by the act of profession,
Mm-hmm.
and say exposure to technology. But at the same time, I also want to be very clear, putting a disclaimer, I'm not yet a very heavy user of AI. I'm seeing how it unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, whatever I'm going to say is a hypothesis more than the experience. So my
Mm-hmm.
hypothesis is that AI definitely is here to stay. AI is can be a fantastic tool
Hmm.
to fast track a lot of steps in the storytelling as arena. Where AI is yet to prove is its ability to feel as human, to be conscious, uh, to be adaptable to the different target audience that a professional company talks to, a professional storyteller wants to reach out. I don't know, are we still there that if tomorrow I am writing an ad for, say, a watch brand, and after
Mm-hmm.
3 months I'm writing a corporate film, say, for a technology company,
Mm-hmm.
can AI replace me? I have my doubts. But one thing for sure, I believe that AI can and will contribute significantly to storytelling. Now, when I'm saying from to storytelling, one, it can be a fantastic colleague to have in a
Okay.
small team.
Got it, like a supporting.
Support, you can have a brainstorming session. As a result, again, if you look at, rather, if you think through, the person interacting with the AI tool currently has to be fantastic when it comes to prompting,
Hmm.
and which means that prompt engineering or prompting again needs a lot of strong foothold of critical thinking, because if I don't craft my brief, if I
Yeah.
don't craft my question correct, the AI, I'm assuming this AI is already sorted, so I'm not talking to a
Yeah.
base model of AI. I'm talking to the right model.
Yeah.
So if my prompt is correct, I may get very good response, and a conversation will start.
Hmm.
But in case my prompt is not good, which is because of lack of practice, lack of depth of thinking, whatever, then of course AI is nothing but, uh, should I say, is like now a dependable colleague, like a fresher in the team who is
Yeah.
waiting for instructions. So as a result, I'm waiting, and I'm also, should I say, I'm seeing how AI evolves.
Hmm.
But can it replace human beings? My guess is right now no.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, whatever I'm reading everywhere, there was this very long article I read, 5,000 word, which apparently exploded on Twitter. It got almost 100 million views, where it's saying that in next 6 months to 1 year or maybe 2 years, AI is going to replace a lot of industries. So my
Mm-hmm.
guess is if that is happening at that speed, then chances are that it may have an impact on storytelling.
Hmm.
But I will want to put a bet against it,
Okay.
saying
Okay.
that it can't replace the ability to feel,
Hmm.
even if it replaces the ability to think, right? It
Hmm.
can't. Right now, I'm saying I don't know. I want to see whether it can bring regional nuances.
Hmm.
Somewhere, I still feel AI is very English thinking and not, if I use the word, desi thinking.
Hmm. Have you used it and you felt it?
Absolutely. Rather, as part of my work, I keep experimenting, writing different prompts at times when we get a new brief from a client or
Hmm.
even for my personal need. So one experiment I do is I try different AI models. So I will try Perplexity, I will try ChatGPT, I will try Claude.
Okay.
Surprisingly, uh, three of them throw out very different analysis.
Okay.
So in a way, it's going to add further complications to my ability to move fast because
Yeah.
I'm yet to build trust on it.
Hmm.
So we are in the process of making a new website. So what I did was I actually uploaded some of our UI UX pages and just asked them to analyze it
Hmm.
given our background. So we
Hmm.
are in the space of visual content, creativity, look and feel and all, right? And colors and whatever. So just prompt. You will be surprised. Perplexity loved our UI UX,
Okay.
saying it's a great coming soon page, it's standing out, it's minimalist, it is this. Claude gave a completely opposite reaction, complete opposite,
Okay.
saying this is missing this is this, you can add this. Now, what do I take away?
Yeah, this was actually my follow-up question. Which of these do you take and which one
So
did you
what
follow?
I did was I finally went with what Claude said. Not because I trust Claude more than Perplexity, not because I trust or I trust Perplexity less than Claude, but it was more about what I also found sensible as a
Hmm.
right advice because it gave both of them gave very detailed answers.
Hmm.
And that's again, I'm saying the underlying trait that will become even far more needed in maybe in the decades to come in the
Yeah.
post AI world is two things: is the ability to think
Hmm.
critical, deep, and all, and second is taste
Hmm.
because either of them cannot be ideally both, but either of them. I don't think AI can actually have both of them to the extent needed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So AI in the world of storytelling, absolutely here to stay. But as a tool,
Hmm.
yes, it can happen that right now, if suppose there's a team of five people, we may need only two people, and the three people work is being done by AI.
Hmm.
But it will still remain a tool.
Hmm.
And with time, I'm assuming it will become even stronger and far more, uh, should I say, competent to contribute.
Hmm.
But yes, its ability to feel is something which I'm also very keen, should I say, as an observer of life, I'm very keen to see how it unfolds or
Right.
how it unhides itself.
Okay, I like the way you've given the answer, detailing every single aspect of what a human will feel and where do we see AI moving. So now I want to gently step away from technology and bring you towards a more personal side. Now,
Okay.
before the studio, before the clients, there was home. Your parents were very different forces emotionally, intellectually, and financially. What did you inherit from each one of them that still shows up in how you live as well as lead today?
So yes, both my parents, my mom and dad, were different individuals, which usually I think is the case with almost all families. Right? They bring their own unique strengths, and then they get passed on
Children?
to the children and next generation.
Yeah.
I think I took away a very strong sense of logical and rational thinking from my dad, including questioning the concepts of God and religion.
Okay.
Uh, and I took hospitality, large-heartedness, and this ferocious focus on education from my mom.
Okay.
I think I'll remain incredibly grateful to both of them, even when I had some significant differences. And on your platform, I want to be honest with my dad as a father-son dynamic.
Hmm.
It's taken me good amount of introspection, some amount of therapy, and some amount of solitude to come to peace with respect to my dad's presence in my life.
Hmm.
But while that's a different topic, coming back to specifically to your question, so yes, my dad was extremely logical, rational, independent thinker, far ahead of his time, had very different ways to look at life, very different. Like he was very encouraging when I said I would like to go for a haircut, given I'm born in a Sikh family,
Hmm.
and he was encouraging. When I used to open up with him about, say the girls I liked during my growing up years, my crushes, he was
Yeah.
very encouraging to the extent he said, "I'm willing to walk with you and talk to the family." And he used to give advices that you should not delay. Whosoever you are bringing, no question asked.
Okay.
Let's go and talk to the family. Of course, in you can say all of us want to be slightly more independent, especially at that age. So I said, no, no, dad, I'll take care of it and all. So he was kind of that interestingly encouraging.
Yeah.
He was fond of, he had very good high taste, right?
Okay.
Very high taste that reflects in the way you can say that, like if I say he had two life as an entrepreneur, one was in the space of iron and steel industries. He used to run these factories, which unfortunately didn't work for different reasons. So then he started a business of interior designing when he was 50.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah, with my elder sibling. And of course, which is when he was 50, I may be 20, 25, whatever age, right?
Mm.
And that's where I notice his uh, taste when it comes to interior designing, furniture, look and feel. And he had a very good creative bent of mind, especially when it came to thinking and writing.
Okay.
So this is what I take away from my dad. Uh, and what I take away from my mom is, of course, like all mothers, mothers are the best, the
Mm.
the sweetest creation of God universe.
Yeah.
So my mother carried the same trait which you associate with a mother. Very loving, very resourceful. I will call her like pura proper sikhni.
Okay.
Very, very powerful, very strong. She did PhD in Hindi literature in 60s, a huge thing. Very focused on education, an extremely loyal partner to my dad, extremely. Religious to a large extent, but and one thing which I very like value in both my parents is large-heartedness. Uh, Both of them, of course, never indulge in gossip. Never, never, ever. That
Yeah,
was both us.
I actually
That
have
was
a
both.
question separately. We're going to talk about this too.
Yeah, so no small talks at home, nothing. Both of them had a very different definition of ambition. Of course, one was coming from a space of education, one was coming from a space of risk taking, but he was not a risk taker to the extent that he never encouraged me to take risks, to be
Mm.
honest with you, because he knew that chances for things not working out is much higher, and
Mm.
it can get extremely difficult a journey. But at the same time, he had his own way of showing encouragement.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, I think fortunate to experience very different kind of parenting,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to my dad. Maybe I would have liked him to be a far more responsible husband, father, and a family man.
Hmm.
But then the lineage that I'm living with from him, from his side, I don't think I will like to ever replace it with anything else. So yeah, I'm extremely grateful.
All right, perfect. Now, I felt, don't you feel like it's very interesting how we carry our parents, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, into boardrooms and creative rooms as well. And sometimes what we inherit isn't just the personality, it's also a circumstance, which brings me to the next question. You grew up around financial instability for more than 2 decades. How does that kind of uncertainty wire an individual, especially around safety, self worth, and the idea of enough? Your thoughts?
So yes, as a family, and we were a family of six people, which is three brothers. I'm the middle brother. Parents and my grandmom, my dad's mom. So we grew up like used to stay together
Mm-hmm.
uh, till say 2012. Reason I'm saying is because they were like we lost each one of them in subsequent some intervals and all. So growing up, my memory is that there was always some financial uh, concerns and turbulence, either way, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Loss in business, loss suffered because of some really, really, should I say, stupid, immature decisions. But with all due respect, because there's a learning in that. So it does hit you more
Mm-hmm.
so in a culture where you come from, which is wherein uh, I mean, people now don't like it, but where showing off and bragging is your key to,
Living a
should
good
I
life.
say, to key to even getting respect.
Hmm.
Unless you don't show yourself to be moderately successful, forget to go. a lot of people, including your own relatives, may like to find ways to stay away from you,
Hmm.
right? So this is one part, which of course you only realize when you reach a certain age.
Hmm.
I'm by the way not a big fan of that. Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, I also want to not come across as someone that who doesn't understand that, that was a need of that hour. I'm
Hmm.
talking about 90s.
Hmm.
I'm talking about early 2000.
Hmm.
The idea about corporate world working salary had not stepped in. It was still growing. I'm talking about my where I came from, my ecosystem. I'm not commenting on anything else. Dad had a side of being a business guy, and so therefore he always wanted to carry a certain image in the world. And as a result, when things were not working out, he still wanted to keep it intact. And that
Hmm.
was his
Operating style.
yeah, his operating style, maybe his operating system. All of us have an operating system,
Yeah.
right? That the environment was different, the avenues to reinvent was different. And also, I realized, which is my learning now, is that at what stage and age you suffer a loss
Yeah.
also defines the flexibility with which you can restart. So if you
Oh,
are facing a loss in
for me,
20s,
this
will be
is so
different.
profound.
Yeah, yeah. If you face a loss in 20s, if you face a loss in 30, if you face a loss in 50s, very different.
Very different.
By the time you reach 50 or above, your ecosystem is set most of the time, mostly I'm saying. So you have to operate according to the ecosystem. As an afterthought, one can always say that your ecosystem was not right, wrong, you could have changed, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm just saying the broad principle is that the life stage in which you are having one, what loss and what kind of loss, how much,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right? So all those things play a big role,
Hmm.
right? So you can't take away that. So because of this entire idea about having financial loss in a society where uh, how your standing gives you that confidence and respect, because of which you can continue building,
Hmm.
did have its own impact on each one of us very differently. As growing up kids, you will always say that I want ABCD, or I want to take a trip, or I want to buy something and all. So your parents will very respectfully, even they are not trained, by the way, being
Hmm.
very honest, they will also find ways of saying that possible hai nahi hai,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
right? It's only afterwards you decide.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then it starts hitting you, okay, that is there something wrong with us as a family that we can't do what our people are doing around us?
Yeah.
Is there something wrong that we're asking or we're demanding?
Hmm.
Right? That was one. And secondly, uh, which is a big learning I want to share, that just like you have a lineage which gets passed on, there is also generational ideas and definition of worth, money, uh, respect that also gets passed on at
Hmm.
times as trauma and as at times as lineage. So I think I drew the definition of what is worth
Hmm.
from my parents, especially from my dad.
Hmm.
So before I could have reached a stage of finding an independent voice of what my worth is, I believe that applies to all, at least North Indian kids, if I can say.
Hmm.
I mean, because my exposure is to North India lifestyle only,
Hmm.
right? That our definition of worth is actually set by our parents more than our
Hmm.
school. I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
So how your parents react to losses, failures, disappointments gets passed on to you,
Hmm.
versus how your parents talk openly with you and your other siblings,
Hmm.
that okay, we are going through a rough patch, we'll come out of it.
Yeah.
How they become that change model, that they are willing to make some significant changes so that family remains stable and all, right?
Yeah.
That can have an impact.
Hmm.
So as a result, before you find your voice, your worth is getting created by someone else.
Hmm.
So yes, therefore, in that financial turbulent time, like for example, I remember I did not know, my younger brother told me this, that so he carries this point that my mom used to love me more than him.
Okay.
So that's an inside joke. But so I said, why do you say? He said, no, she always wanted to keep an eye on you. Once because of our financial situation, we could not afford to buy new clothes, and she knew that I like to buy new clothes and all. So she used to take special care in ironing my clothes so that they look as new and as fresh to the extent possible.
My God.
Right? So I'm just saying, of course, I will say God's been kind. I think the biggest gift now when I look back at life is pure and pure education focus that I got from my mom
Hmm.
and life lessons that I got from my dad, which are extremely valuable. One thing I want to add, which is in a way answering your previous question, one value that I saw in both my parents and I still carry, which actually was told to me by my younger brother. Three of us, we are three brothers, I said. We have very high work ethics that
Okay.
actually came from our parents. Because as I said, it was never a culture of gossiping. It was never a culture of small talk. It was always about hard work
Hmm.
and education. Hard work and education. Hard work and education. Right? Not cutting corners, not going outside uh, the correct route to the extent. If you're making a commitment and deliver, if you have to put in double the hours, even if you're not getting the value, go
Hmm.
out. Like so, that was there. So yes, so the financial turbulence impacted a lot in terms of confidence. How do you present yourself? How do you talk to people around you? More so when you are going to a pretty reputed and, if I say, affluent school. I
Yeah.
went to Delhi Public School.
Hmm.
Uh, how do you handle the ecosystem there?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're surrounded by people who come from different lifestyles, different families, but almost everyone is coming from a certain level of affluency.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you balance,
Hmm.
right? How do you balance? And then, of course, it starts building into your psyche.
Hmm.
But yeah, I will say like it's a beautiful lesson to have lived. Uh, and yes, I do believe that worth, of course, is not an issue anymore now, at least with me, that self-worth and all. And yeah, again, absolutely no complaints at all with respect to the environment I grew up in. And of course, to the parents I grew up with.
All right, perfect. So, couple words that stuck with me: money, loss, pressure, sometimes tension. They all shape how we learn, speak, and we pick from the environment around, right? Which makes this next piece even more fascinating. Now, you've shared that your family didn't engage in small talk or gossip, as we've been talking, only substance. How did growing up in that environment shape the way you value conversations now? We heard about your work ethic, but how did that simmer up the conversations that you pay attention to?
See, the first negative impact of
Okay.
growing up in an environment like it that you end up being a misfit in 99% of the ecosystem.
Hmm.
I am saying this with absolute consciousness and all my experience that you look forward to deeper, meaningful conversations, connections, uh, but then you don't get that often.
I can
Absolutely, right?
I can high
So,
five on that note.
yes, exactly. So as a result, what you do and what you go through is you find your own rhythm,
Hmm.
one, and you don't find your rhythm at the same age at which people around you may be finding, which is defined by the world, right? You may not find, my favorite is you may not find uh, music to your lyrics
Yeah. Yeah.
when the world had already started playing full songs. You may find it little late, if I say. I'm not
Yeah.
talking from a comparison, but I'm talking from a very basic social construct, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then you do find if you stay convinced and have conviction that okay, right? Like that uh, small talk, gossipy conversations, trivial conversations, uh, should I say, haggling versus negotiation, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
All the things you start finding very shallow.
Hmm.
So the way is that you stay put,
Hmm.
you experience different ecosystem,
Hmm.
and you start curating and therefore start finding people with whom you relate. And in
Hmm.
case you find those far lesser,
Hmm.
still absolutely stay calm because uh, it's like this logically. If you don't bring your best game whenever you meet someone,
Yeah, yeah.
or even before that, if you don't bring your best game to yourself, you are actually disrespecting the life you've been gifted, the time you have. So if I have half an hour, why would I not want to spend that half an hour doing something meaningful, which could be nothing but sitting by myself,
Hmm.
going for a walk,
Hmm.
maybe watching some movie, listening to some music, or finding friends or finding an activity which keeps me happy and occupied and fulfilled,
Hmm.
than actually picking up the phone and talking to some, some people who believe in this concept. And that's an inside joke, which is, how do you find people who are shallow? They always say, "Hor das." It's like, "Or batao,
Well,
or
isn't
batao."
that a
It's like this
regular
life.
mostly?
Sorry.
It is a regular in every conversation, right? Like
But
mostly.
then no, but then that's not a sign of a very clear-minded person who has depth. Right? Because logically, if I am calling, for that matter, I'm speaking with you on phone. If we have nothing to speak, then let's better to hang up, right? Say after 30 seconds. For example, Ekta, I'm on my way. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Or Ekta, has been long. We haven't spoken in 6 months. I thought I'll just give you a call. So what's
Yeah.
happening? Now, when I say what's happening, there are two ways. One is that you will also give me some really thoughtful answer, and
Hmm.
as a result, we both will be immersed and we'll have the conversation going on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or the other way is that, so I'm saying I'm connecting you after 6 months, so I thought I'll check with you what's happening. And then you saying that nothing, same old, nothing much, just busy with work, life.
Hmm. So, which
So
is like you just trying
shallow.
to, yeah, like
So
move
then
away with
I
the
will say,
conversation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then effectively, you are showing that the other person, I am picking the phone and calling,
Yeah,
right? And you are not responding, eh, say, cheerfully, happily,
yeah, yeah. You're not
right?
valuing the other person clearly.
Effectively, so therefore, the desi way of saying this is that, or batao.
Or batao.
और बताओ it's like बस और सब बढ़िया or good. So I have a couple of close friends. I'll be honest with you. When I say close means they have been close from a space that they are my long tenure friends, like
Yeah.
long lasting friendship. And whenever I ask them, they always says, "What's happening? Nothing much." So then I'll ask them, "Okay, what's happening on work?" So then
Hmm.
they will say that nothing, worked hard, lost a contract, gained a contract, last quarter was good, bad quarter this.
Hmm.
But when they ask me what's happening, I like to give a detailed answer because that's how you make the other person feel that, okay, I value you.
Yeah.
You will
Um,
not open up with everyone, right?
True that, but
But
I also listen. I agree with what you're saying, but I also sometimes feel that I have a slightly different thought process also here because a lot of times when
yeah,
I'm talking to my friends and I keep saying, "Acha aur bata." Acha, what else? So that's also my way of saying, okay, I don't want to end the conversation. We've had meaningful chat still, but what else? What else? Let's peel more layers. Let's go more
oh, yeah,
deeper.
yeah, absolutely. But then effectively, the fact that in your case, you're saying you had meaningful conversations, one, and after that, you want the conversation to continue. So,
Extending.
yeah, or extending, and therefore, you're finding ways,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
right? You're
finding is
finding
that's the
ways.
right term. Yeah.
Yeah, you're finding ways to have a deeper conversation on different topics, right? Like, so in a way, yeah, you're corroborating what I'm saying. And hence, when you grow up in an environment where there are conversations around religion and God, like my dad used to do, there are conversation around, say, success, education, should I say, coming among the toppers of school, like what my mom used to do. There are never cheap or low talk. There's never about there's concept around hard work and all. Then logically, you will grow up with a bone of deeper thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you will always either look for that, and in case not, it's very natural to come out in your work, by the way. It will first comes out in your work, then it comes out in relationships and all. Right? The way you approach even a small presentation or a small because I've operated in the creative communication industry. So even the way you create a proposal or make a static, it will come out there,
Yeah.
right? Attention to detail, thinking deeply, thinking differently. It becomes part of your second nature. So
Yeah.
whether in personal relationship and work, it comes out, and that's actually both the boon and bane growing up in a ecosystem or in a family where everything was discussed except uh, low, small, or cheap talks
Good thing,
every
man. Good.
time. Oh, absolutely. I would
Yeah.
not want it to be in any other way.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, slightly tilting. Now, at some point, every child becomes aware of how the world sees them. And I'm sure this happened with you too, Navneet. Now, what I also felt while we were doing some research and we also had some chat, that you've often described yourself as an underdog. Now, when did that feeling first crystallize, and how did it shape your ambition and inner narrative over time?
So honestly, I don't. Matlab, I get your question. If you allow me to say, I don't think. Uh, I don't. How to put it? I would not like to describe myself as an underdog. What I'm trying to say is that anyone in my place will be an underdog. It's like this. So, case in point, as I said, financial turbulence. Uh, we like dad had to shut down his work. We had a home in Delhi. We sold that home. Then we shifted to Gurgaon. In that financial turbulent journey, mortgaged a lot of our other assets. Then, of course, struggling with respect to self-worth, figuring out your own standing, not only as an individual, but as a representative of the family. Just giving you another context, I remember when I got my first job,
Mm-hmm.
one of my relatives told me later on that my parents were very happy because I got a job with some American MNC in the marketing research space.
Okay.
And it became like a,
Status
you know,
symbol.
yeah, it became like a bragging for my father, saying that, okay, because while businesses were not doing well or they were being set up, but it was still business. And suddenly one of his sons, and it's nothing to do with me, I'm saying anyone in our place would have, in my place, any of the children, joining an American MNC, that was the term they used to, suddenly made them feel proud and, that license to enter any room with confidence, like a chin up moment.
Mm-hmm.
While I know for almost all my friends, this was business as usual. It's like you've got a job, you did MBA, you got placed, and you're starting working
Mm-hmm.
first. Second, almost all the people I know, I mean, that's what I took away during my, especially during my MBA, that they came from far more financial stable families. I mean, that's what they projected. So for them also, this was like an extension. So while
Mm-hmm.
we are doing well as a family, glad we found a job, even if we
Yeah.
don't want a job,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because,
Like stepwise progression.
right, yeah. In my case, this was a leap. I like the
Yeah.
way you said it was a progression for them. It was a leap. So this
Mm-hmm.
underdog thing is deeply instilled. I think it also was instilled in my dad, given that he grew up in extremely difficult situation. He lost his father when he was 9 years of age,
Oh
and
wow.
it was him and his mom struggled throughout, right? And whatever dynamics were there during his time. So as a result, for him to become successful faster was always there.
Hmm.
And he tried, failed in different things. And that has got passed on to us. So as a result, the idea that we have to build something from scratch got inbuilt. And anyone who's trying to build something from scratch, in my eyes, is underdog. You don't expect,
Hmm.
but they're fighting. I'll be honest with you, underdog ka ek trait or bhi hai that even when they're doing well, they're effectively still fighting for survival.
Yeah.
That
It's
that
a psyche,
desire,
right? It's that
it's a
inner
psyche.
dialogue.
It's a psyche. Absolutely, it's a psyche. Because even after losing parents, things had their. I mean, in my life, they were still very topsy-turvy. Uh, I left my job. Of course, parents were not there. I started what I'm doing, which is unhide. It's completely from scratch, bootstrap, all those things.
Hmm.
Also, it's in an industry which is not from. I'm not from this industry. I'm from a research and consulting background, and I'm getting into the creative zone of photography, videography, branding, and all, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that also was an add-on. Now,
Hmm.
why did I do this? I don't know. Maybe it's part of my psyche. I always
Hmm.
wanted to do something on my own. That was there, and then there were multiple other personal aspects that happened. which were, of course, definitely not encouraging. Some of them
Hmm.
were disappointing. Some of them had rejections,
Hmm.
or should I say, were rejections. Uh, so all this was just adding on to think that, okay, no matter where I am in my life, it's a survival for which I'm going to fight. And
Hmm.
I'm going to fight till the last day, till the last breath, whatever you want to say.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm not saying this from a space of being dramatic. I'm saying
Hmm.
this from a space that this is my second nature.
Hmm.
This is something which either I have seen or heard. Like I'm deeply inspired by underdog stories,
Hmm.
rags to riches, from a failure to success. In my capacity, I've also been massively bullied in school. I've been very comfortably left out, or isolated by my own group of friends. And even within my broader ecosystem of family, I've been called out. I've been, I mean, some very mean things have been said and all, right?
This is my next question, by the way, which you peeled up. But wait, Navneet, I'm gonna hold you right here. When we're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
on the underdog part, I want to know. So I've heard about the inner dialogue and the psyche that's been in you and how you see things. How does that impact ambition, so to say?
As I said, I think it comes directly that it's like basically the fight for survival, except that survival is de facto. It's like your default state. So
Yeah.
you want to do well, and then you do well, and then you want to do well. It's definitely not coming from a space of greed.
Hmm.
I'll tell you, that's one of my self-talk, self-mantra. I don't want to be greedy, but I want to be hungry.
Hmm.
बहुत एक underdog is hungry always,
Yeah.
always.
There's a
I
positive
mean,
side to it, right?
always hungry till the last day,
Hmm.
right? But and therefore that differentiates an underdog from someone who is not underdog. And that is what I'm coming to, that there is always a hunger to do well.
Hmm.
That came very clearly, that came in my dad also, who till his last day was trying to make a mark or create his reputation or earn his respect. Something or the other was always there.
Hmm.
Again, I'm saying not the best route that was taken, but that's an afterthought. That's a learning. Where he deserves credit is the fact that he had no one to bounce his ideas off, which is what I've told you, right? So as a
Hmm. Hmm.
result, if you're isolated, if you don't have close-knit family, then who do you go to? You start taking decisions on your own. And some fall, some not. I am lucky that, okay, I had my dad who I saw growing up. I had my mom who I saw growing up. I had my elder brother and younger brother. So as a result, I have sudden sense of things which I should not do.
Hmm.
So when you look at all these things, underdog is the ability to keep fighting. Now I'm not fighting, by the way, to earn my worth or prove myself. Now I'm fighting, if I use that word, I mean, now I'm fighting actually just to ensure my potential is used to the last drop. When you're on a journey from growing your worth, the next step is that you realize, okay, there is potential. There are
Hmm.
certain gifts. There is some intelligence. You have some skills. Better use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better use it to make a life for yourself. Maybe make your lineage proud, your ancestors proud.
Yeah.
If you have a family, make your family proud. If you have shareholders, make your shareholders proud. But better use your and your team's potential to the T.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I am in that phase now. And
Hmm.
therefore, I'm saying I'm hungry. And of course, I'm extremely happy being ambitious.
Hmm. All right. Good. Thank you, and thank you for going into so many details. And also, just want to say that so many layers that we're peeling into your personal life, it's heavy. So I sincerely appreciate you being honest and sharing every little detail. It's a lot. So that's why I want to say that I really appreciate you going into the depth and telling us all the stories. Um,
Thanks. I think Ikta, I'll have to give it to you. You're making it comfortable and safe for me to contribute, and also it is the way one should be, right? When especially when you're coming on a podcast, being
it's
authentic as much as possible.
yeah. Okay. Bringing you back. to those days when you were bullied? My question is, you were bullied early for identity, appearance, and eventually a label that stuck, right? What does it do to an individual when a name becomes a personality imposed on them? How were those
You
days?
start you start believing that okay, you are that, and that's the sad reality. Uh, I'm talking about 90s and 80s when school bullying was normalized, right? Being called out names or labels, right? It was normalized. It was part of being the cool gang, being part of the cool gang, or excuse me, or the cool culture.
Hmm.
And then add to that, you come back home and you know that there are family, should I say, lack of family awareness about how to handle this.
Hmm.
So then you start believing not the labels or the word, but you start believing uh, lack of strength. That how do you fight it? How do
Hmm.
you, if I use the word, give it back?
Hmm.
And then add to it that even people around you with whom you say share a good relationship, you had a good, should I say, friendship. If they also start believing in those things, then you start acting that just to, avoid abandonment. So you start sticking out
I
because
agree.
in the end you have to navigate, right? You have to navigate and you have to find your footing. Sometimes it is easy to find footing. Sometimes it takes time. I think in my case, I will say that it's taken its own sweet time and realizations at my end. Yeah, which is about breaking away from the patterns.
Wow. Um,
Right. But it does hit your confidence. I will not deny. If I use a word, I'm extremely uncomfortable and against the idea of about bullying, giving names and labels. Say, I'm extremely uncomfortable with body shaming. Uh, I'm very uncomfortable when people make fun of someone's inability to pronounce
hmm.
or speak proper English. Because all those things are coming from a space of entitlement or a false sense of superiority,
Hmm.
right? So I'm very uncomfortable with that. Not only because I have been on the receiving end, but I also feel it's not a sign of a civil society, if I can say. You
Hmm.
you can you can still have fun, but you don't have to mock someone to get fun because then it's not right. Then effectively what you're saying is that I'm going to have fun at the expense of someone else's identity.
Hmm.
Logically, it doesn't make sense.
If I may ask you right now, from the days when you were bullied in the school and when you knew that the support system was also trying to understand and process and respond in the best of their abilities, to now, I probably know it's not going to happen, but in case it does, would you want to call out the system? How would your reaction differ from the days back then?
No, so a couple of things are there. How someone treats you
Yeah.
is not a is as much prevalent in growing up years as it is prevalent right now in adulthood, by the way.
Really?
Of course, anyone, I mean, the new age concepts that we keep hearing about gaslighting and narcissistic abuse is nothing but it's bullying only, right? It's just that it's bullying as adults. What was being bully, how you were being bullied by a friend or by a group of people in school. The parallel to is that how you are treated when you grow up, which now in today's day and age, under the growing phenomena of mental health is being called abuse, are
Hmm.
identical.
Hmm.
So, give it that context and answering your question directly, I call out. I distance myself, I detach myself, and I'm at the same time, I'm also sure that I've also must have been unfair to quite a few people in my life. So it's not that I have only been on the receiving end,
Hmm.
right? I have also, in my realization, I have gone ahead and apologized to quite a few people, even when they were not expecting,
Hmm.
and even when I'm not in touch with them, because that's my realization that it's not right. And the It's like the pattern has to end, the cycle has to be
Hmm.
broken.
Hmm.
So it's only when I sought forgiveness and I offered my apologies. It's when I got my confidence back that therefore I will also not allow that to happen to me. So
Yes.
I call out.
All right.
I call out, I walk away, I distance myself, I detach, or I become a different person.
Hmm.
Right? And the way is that you cut or you reduce your access,
Hmm. Hmm.
which you can't do with all honesty, whatever the world says, which is very difficult, extremely difficult growing up, which is cutting access.
Hmm.
Because no matter what, you are in a captive environment, right? You have to go to the same school, sit with the same uh, classmates in the same section.
But I also feel like I think a lot of it has also to do with the fact that that realization, that awareness, that clarity also comes with age. If
That's
your
what I'm saying.
support system, yeah, right, yeah.
But having said that, I also believe it does not come with age. I will differ with you on that. It does not. I have known so many people who are continuing to exhibit the same patterns that they exhibited growing up. So they will act entitled. I know so many people, they will act for for lack of word, they will try to act superior,
Hmm.
right? But then I don't think it comes with age. No, I think it comes with a deep sense of reflection. It comes with if you're lucky that you enter the zone of solitude, because when you face yourself, that's when you understand all these things.
Yeah.
Or when you face losses, it's only around during that time that okay, you have a chance to reflect on how you were and how things were. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know if this answers the question you were looking for.
It is.
Okay, okay,
Alrighty. Okay. I feel like you and I can probably sit for like 3, 4 hours. We'll have these conversations going on and on always.
absolutely, yeah. But I would
That's
like
okay.
if there's an interval so that I can go and have some chai or make some chai.
All right. Moving on to another topic, which is we're going to talk about therapy and inner work. Now, there's a
Okay.
moment in adulthood where we either repeat patterns, like you just mentioned, some people do not get the awareness that they've been repeating patterns, or you confront them. In your case, you chose confrontation. You chose therapy, not briefly, but deeply, and that too for 5 years. What changed when you stopped intellectualizing pain and started sitting with it? This is probably one of the deepest questions I felt.
So, Ita, I've realized that I'm a very curious person. And I also feel my curiosity is not around intellectual academic topics.
Okay.
My curiosity stems again as a lineage value. I relate everything in my life to my parents. So my curiosity comes from my dad because he also had way of asking questions because he wanted answers. So as a result, I've always been curious. Some things happened in my personal life around 2018, uh, which kind of, were not as pleasant as I would have liked. And because it was happening within the close-knit ecosystem, I had no place to go to seek answers. Usually, when something happens outside of your ecosystem or in the extended ecosystem, you will always go back to your parents, your life partner, your immediate family.
Yeah.
You will find ways or answers or tools to face it and manage it. In my case, it happened in a extremely close-knit ecosystem, and that left me completely isolated, abandoned, and lonely.
Okay.
In a Right now, I'm absolutely talking in a very non-emotional manner. So I don't want this to be seen from a melodrama or
Yeah.
dramatic. So then I came with this again logical conclusion who is the person who I can reach if I have answers to what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. And hence I went to a therapist.
Mhm.
And I was lucky to find a good therapist and I continued for 5 years. I think around 2018 is when I started and then continued. In that, I think therapy was both a life changer and a game changer for me, given that I found answers not only to what I was going through, but how I feel a lot of the I found a lot of tools to manage my inner strength or to discover my inner strength. And I went kind of, I started rebuilding myself. I started taking a lot of difficult decisions, perceivably difficult decisions. I started trusting myself. I started taking one day at a time. And I kind of built, rebuilt, broken, built, rebuilt, broken, like that. So where I sit today, of course, I'm in a far better, more balanced, more confident space than ever. Sure about a lot of things, including, uh, God forbid, if I have to face again a difficult situation, which of course is a part of human life. So I can't stay away. The
Yeah.
only thing I can hope, and I'm sure everyone can hope, is that to have the tools, and one of them is the inner strength, more than the external tools, which is usually the tangible thing that we talk about. So
Hmm.
if you can build your inner strength mentally, physically, emotionally, then chances are that uh, ability to, the resilience comes up, which is ability to bounce back. At least that confidence that you can bounce back happens. Whether you are
Hmm.
able to bounce back or not, no one can predict, right? But being confident that no, I can bounce back. I've gone through this, I will come out of it. That self-talk changes. By the way, self-talk changed completely. Completely. Earlier it was lost, weak, it lacked, it came from a space of inadequacy. Now it comes from a space of extreme confidence. That is one. Uh, the ability that I can break generational patterns. The ability, I love one thing that my therapists say, and I want to share it with the audience, that let's not borrow thoughts.
Okay.
All of us have, we don't realize, but a lot of us think not as individually, but as uh, a deeply impacted member of the family or the tribe. So a lot of our thoughts are not independent, even when we feel they're independent.
Hmm.
That's one. I also realized something happened because of which I took a decision of disengaging with my family for almost 4 or 5 years. So when I disengaged the first month, I realized that I had a lot of other voices in my mind of people from my close knit environment than my own.
Hmm.
And that was creating far more fear than any sense of little surety that, okay, there's an adventure which lies ahead. Let's take it. That was not there. It was all about fear that if I take this step, I will fall. If I take this step, there's something wrong. In case I fail, then the voice will say, see, I told you you will fail. See, you were always like this. Now, every other voice was there in me except my own voice, which is when I disengaged and I started my journey again. I call it as a second life. Uh, and I continue doing my therapy and all. And now, of course, as I said, that a lot of things have fallen in place. A lot of things are falling in place. And I'm sure a lot of things will fall in place. I will recommend every single person therapy and
No.
proper therapy, not just touch and go, not the Instagram or WhatsApp therapy, but proper therapy. If you're lucky, please find a therapist before you find a gym trainer. A lot of us don't want to go and do the inner work, but we want to do the outer work, which is how we look, how we feel. But yes, I do believe that both are equally important, which is the physical training and the mental training.
Hmm. Perfect. All right. Um, how about I bring you now to the entrepreneurial chapter, but with everything that I've kind of understood about you? Okay, because I want to understand more about Unhide now. So, what is
Sure.
the story behind starting Unhide and why that name? What were you trying to
Yes.
reveal, reclaim, or protect? Tell us everything.
So yeah, thanks. Unhide is basically, as you've already said, is a visual content brand or a studio where we work directly with clients
Mhm.
to create content, mostly for the digital world. So we do a lot of video content, advertising content, film content. We do a lot of branding content. We do a lot of designing content, and we do a lot of photography content.
Okay.
It started as a very deep desire of doing something on my own. I had tried a couple of times in the past during my schooling days and even during my graduation, post graduation, nothing was happening. And I think that also again came because grew up in a family where we were always talking about something or the other with respect to business. So
Hmm.
that idea about doing something on my own was always there.
Hmm.
So it's just that I think maybe almost 9, 10 years ago, I reached out to a couple of my friends who were doing amateur photography. And I told them that why are people buying painting and why are they not buying photography? Because
Hmm.
that's always the case, right? I'm talking about 2011, 2012. And then we guys caught up, we met, and that's when the name got decided called Unhidden,
Okay.
which later on changed to Unhide because Unhidden or Unhide effectively means that through photography you can see anything without going. So today I can see any large scale historical structure in a country where I may not be able to go because photography reveals it, or as we
Hmm.
say, photography unhides it. So that's how the journey started. And it started as a partnership between me and a friend from my graduation. Then later on, he had a personal situation because of which he decided to discontinue.
Hmm.
And he was a photographer, the amateur photographer who wanted to do deep photography, and he was very good in his art, very good.
Okay.
While I was a guy who was trying to market, do branding, have conversations. I'm also part of an exhibiting artist. So I've exhibited almost 10, 12 times as part
Okay.
of Unhide when it was the two-member team. Uh, so then he decided to discontinue as because of a personal situation. So then again, I was facing a situation wherein it's been 1.5 years of me. It happened after 1.5 years of me quitting. So, and this friend decides to quit in a very rightful and a respectful manner. And I was again facing a situation, should I go back to my work and job?
Hmm.
Because I was happily employed and I was enjoying my work in the corporate world. Or should I continue?
Hmm.
So that's when I thought and I wrote somewhere, I like to journal, I like to write. I wrote that if I go back, then what will happen is cliches will win. One cliche will be that I told you he'll fail. Second, what was the need to quit when he could have easily carried out as a weekend hobby? Third, now with his partner gone, and of course the fact that his family also had unsuccessful business attempts, right? What was the need to even get into business?
Hmm.
How will he get married and all those things? But then I came to a conclusion that I don't want the cliches to win. One, I don't want my career to be dependent on someone else's career choice because there is no guarantee, right? Like if tomorrow I start something with someone else, now that person is unable to discontinue, then what is it saying? It's simply saying that I'm not independent. And hence I decided to continue. And I started reconnecting, building, rebuilding, whatever you want to say, finding my rhythm back. Of course, there was a long period of uh, zero to negligible revenue and therefore hardly any profits and all those things. Like I think roughly there was a period of 6 months where I only did a business of 3 lakh rupees, which is 50,000 rupees a month.
Hmm.
So maybe I was saving only 20K because I was paying off fees to the photographer, videographer, and all. So, so from that perspective, if I look at it, it's been a very fruitful journey.
Hmm.
Um I wanted to keep it bootstrapped. I wanted to work directly with clients because then that allows us to understand, learn, grow, deliver. I didn't want to go through mediator, bigger company which is getting us project.
Hmm.
So that was always there. Deeply inspired by Apple's story. Then, of course, at the same time, I also wanted to ensure that I keep my approach, if I say frugal, so I don't expand my team. Anide was after my partner or my friend left the partnership. Anide stayed like a one-man army, if I can say, or a sole proprietorship, completely sole founder for almost 4 years.
Wow. So this is very okay. I do have a question. I'm going to
Go
touch
ahead.
upon
Yeah.
it.
Please, please, please.
But well, firstly, thank you for sharing all the details about Unhide and the entire story behind it. Um, I want to know that it started as photography, and like you're mentioning, it evolved into a full spectrum visual storytelling studio.
Yeah.
Question is, what stayed constant while everything else was changing?
Okay. I think that's a very good question. Seriously. What stayed constant was uh, is that underdog spirit that I have to overcome my past perception and failure. That वो नहीं चल पाया, वो नहीं चल पाया, उसके साथ नहीं चल पाया, इसके साथ नहीं चल पाया, नहीं, ये मौका फिर नहीं मिलेगा. So that was always like the self-talk or the fact that, as I said, that I carried a lot of inadequate self-worth or low self-worth. So if I would have gone back,
Hmm.
it would have only got stamped,
Hmm.
right? It would have hit confidence and all. Also, to be honest with you, I don't think uh, I today I can say I don't think I even had a luxury to accept failure. मतलब, there was nothing because uh, with like the dynamics between me and my siblings, uh, especially with yeah, I mean, was not as smooth as I would have liked, especially when I was setting up unhide. So therefore, if I would have failed, I did not want to,
Give
how
them
do I
another
put,
reason.
not them also, but there was a perception that unfortunately my dad had created about me. And that's the reason I was saying that as a son, I had significant differences with my dad. Uh, right? There was a perception he created while I was growing up.
Hmm.
That again was part of the label that got attached. So there was a label getting attached at home and in school, and then there was a label that got attached at home.
Hmm.
So now when I look back, I was actually trying to fight just a reason to exist type, like because growing up, you are always, whether we agree or not, you are dependent on your caretakers, on your elders, especially. If they
Yeah.
say that, if an elder say that you can't do it, it will become the voice till your last day.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
your elder says in a very condescending, sarcastic manner, while it may be normalized as a fun comment, saying in a very desi way, I'll say that मुझे तो पता था कि तू नहीं कर पाएगा, या मेरे
Hmm.
को तो पता है कि तू पहले भी फेल होती थी, अभी भी हो रही है.
Hmm.
Something like that, right? It may come from whatever space, but it gets instilled as part of yours. So now I am starting a business, my partner leaves. If I would have gone back, again, I said the cliches would have won.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not want to, definitely. I just said that, nahin, I am going to make whatever happens. Whatever happens, I have to make it work.
Perfect.
And yeah, and as a result, I will say like that happened. Then a lot of divine intervention kept happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, I can't take away the fact that there is a huge role of divine in my journey.
Hmm.
That happened. So kept that was a constant. What kept changing? Yeah, every second month kept changing. New people, new experiences, new disappointment, new rejection, new delays. Some success, some wins. Something happened. I remember in April of 2015, it had been 6 months when my partner had left, and I did just a business of 3 lakhs. Uh, I had almost projects worth 7 lakh rupees, 8 lakh rupees, proposals. Every single thing got rejected, shelved, put off, something like that. So I was sitting with my family, which is my own inner ecosystem, my siblings, and then they had said that it's okay, it's not part of your destiny. Why don't you go back, join join your workplace and give it a shot after 1 or 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, you may get married and all those things, whatever you want to say. Uh, exactly at that moment, I realized that I was not getting that inner calling that it's time. I still wanted to give it a shot. I absolutely wanted to give it a shot. And I remember I was in touch with a client. It was like for 18 months, I was track chasing them
Okay.
saying work they do work. They opened up they gave me a brief in May of 2015, and they asked me to submit almost 11 proposals, 11 iterations of that proposal. I was like I threw my specs once. I just banged my this by when which is May, then June, July, August. And on a very lighter note, in August, I remember I had my birthday the first week. I called up my client. I see, just like that. Maybe that was another creative call I picked growing up, saying that, hey, listen. just want to tell you it's my birthday today. He said, okay. And he said, happy birthday. I said, do you mind if I ask for a birthday gift? So he said, yeah, what is it you have? And this is a client I'm talking to, by the way.
Hmm.
He said, what? I said, I just need a PO of that project I've been pitching. He said, what are you saying? You haven't received it. I've already given a go ahead. I said, okay, but I'm yet to receive any intimation, any PO, any formal go ahead. He said, चलो दिया कल आपको email मिल जाएगी, something like that. And this is how then things started looking up because this was a massive big project that I had got,
Wow.
right? Massive big project. So this is effectively something which kept changing my ability to have different experience and then adapt myself. See,
Yeah.
this is a very important thing which I believe is critical, but is not talked a lot. People talk a lot about resilience, but resilience is nothing but disguised adaptability.
Hmm. I'm going to say
Because
this line again. Resilience is not but disguised ability.
no, no, resilience is nothing but disguised adaptability.
Disguised adaptability.
Because things will never remain the same outside,
Yeah, yeah,
and there will be far more. By the way, there are far more lows than highs.
yeah. But you
So
think,
in a hundred, if I say 100 is a unit, there will be 95, 96 lows and just maybe two highs and one stagnant.
yeah.
So
You,
unless you don't adapt yourself, or the other word which is in the corporate lingo, the agility, right? Being agile. I don't think you can respond to the changing circumstance in the most optimum manner.
sure, but you think agility, adaptability, all of these adjectives that you're saying, you're talking about how you were fine tuning the situations you were in. But I want to highlight, or probably want to tell you, I don't know how much you've given yourself credit for sticking around with that inner belief when the voice said you're not done, when you could have picked up the easier route. That didn't get highlighted as much, and I thought I should bring the emphasis there.
I don't know whether I would like to right now give credit to myself. Uh, One, of course, thank you so much for saying what you just said. Uh, I will generally still want to believe that uh, it was, see, it's a mix of many things to happen for you to survive, for get success of different ways, right? As I said, definitely divine intervention, definitely uh, I attribute almost everything in my life to my mom's values, blessings, upbringing, being born to an incredibly intelligent man like my dad. Definitely having an extremely supportive ecosystem to the extent possible with both my siblings, elder and younger, right? And then, yes, you're right. My love for the idea about work, I just love working, by the way. I don't see this as a different thing. It's just calm. It's like, jitte mehnata, utte rehmata.
Well,
So,
I'm going to interject and actually say this I've seen when we were sitting for dinner and you got a call, and the way you were responding and talking at the wee hours didn't really
yeah,
show that you were talking to a colleague. It was more like having a good chatty conversation over a weekend with a
yeah,
friend.
yeah, 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 absolutely. So, therefore, I'm just saying that a lot of things have to fall in place for you to enjoy the ride, contribute to the ride. So that's what I'm coming to. Whether I'm born with this, not whether it was passed on as a lineage, whether I've acquired this skill, I don't know. I really don't know.
But what I actually wanted to say, and I'm still going to say it again, a lot of people, when they are on that threshold that things aren't working, you have an easy route, not many even get the awareness. Not people, some people are not even able to hear that inner voice. Where are they tilted? So I wanted to highlight the fact that you heard it at the right time, chose to stick around with it, and then came adaptability, agility, and everything.
Sure. I mean, I simply say thank you. I appreciate you saying this. But I do believe I don't like to give up. At times, this can go against the norms because you don't know, like, there are a lot of articles that you read online, which is there is always a point where you should give up and not continue. And that's my struggle, which is I still don't know the point where I have to give up. I just don't want to give up. I would love to be known. for being the hardest working man in a room than being the smartest, the richest, or the coolest, or the most popular. So yes, the underlying thing is that there is absolute immense love for work. I do believe work is the biggest blessing any human can have, regardless of geography and affluency level. So there is an underlying appreciation of the concept of work, and onto that, of course, you continue building.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's where it is, and hence, yeah, don't give up.
All
Absolutely,
right.
I will tell every. I mean, in case you want to, you can take a pause, but come back. If you have a
Yeah.
dream, come back. And I genuinely believe and tell, please don't let age, please don't let age dictate the direction of your life. No matter what happens, please, please, because a lot of people, especially I'm 45 right now. A lot of my friends and people around me, they're reaching that stage where they're contemplating what next, what to do, because they've achieved, and some of them have done really well for themselves. Very inspiring people I am now surrounded with. Grateful for that. Some of them are contemplating and all, and I keep telling them, remove the concept of age. So what would you do if the age was not an idea,
Perfect.
right?
Okay.
I mean, there's another mantra I follow, which is वक्त के आगे उम्र की क्या औकात.
Ramit, I'm going to get so many phrases out of this episode.
I mean, maybe that's my intent also, right?
Yeah.
That people only listen to the phrases, forget who Navneet is.
The punchlines.
Yeah, but generally, I think वक्त के आगे उम्र की क्या औकात, right? And
Right.
I mean, I believe in it, and as a result, there's no reason not to continue walking, keep walking, don't give up. Uh, if you have a dream or an aim or a goal or a mission, if you have a hobby, please, please pursue it. Please give it a shot, and
Perfect.
give it a shot for a little longer than just initial instances. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Towards the end, we spoke about building, right? I want to bring your focus on kind of a realization that growth didn't come overnight, it came gradually as we were listening to your story. Now, there was also a point where you mentioned that Unhide grew slowly, years as a one member firm, and then your first hire, then a team. What did that pace teach you about timing, patience, and sustainability?
The two qualities that I admire, the two traits that I admire in anyone around me, including myself, or the trait I aspire, are patience and perseverance. One, so you can't be perseverant if you are not patient, for sure.
100%.
And patience without perseverance, nothing but laziness is laziness, right? Like just being patient but not doing anything is laziness.
Yeah.
Uh, Doing something and expecting something to happen right away is also foolishness, if I can say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what has it taught me is that one simple thing: keep going. There's no reason for you to stop. You can take a pause. You can take a pause, not like long pause. Don't take those breaks. That is very cool these days, like taking break, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in sabbaticals, being very honest. And no, I'm not trying to start a debate here, especially given that your audiences will be from varied life choices. I believe that taking a 3 hour break on a Sunday afternoon, going for a movie, or taking a 5 hour break to recuperate, or a 3-day travel, is absolutely fine. But if you have picked up something, if you have started something, there is no reason for you not to continue. There's
Hmm.
also a concept of self-respect. Like, what do you tell yourself when you stand in front of a mirror, that why did you start what you started? And why are you stopping? Both these questions have to be answered. And if your voice gives you the right answer, which you are satisfied, then absolutely take a detour, stop, change industry, change lines and all. But if you have started something, and when you talk to yourself, and whether it's in front of a mirror, whether when you go for a walk, whether you are journaling, or whether you're meeting a therapist, coach, mentor, you have to have very solid reason to discontinue something.
Hmm.
Very solid. Uncertainty cannot be a reason, ideally, because everything will be uncertain. Anything is uncertain, right? Uh, market dynamics have changed. I understand. Funds have kind of slowed. I understand. But because it is uncertain, because there is a personal situation, uh, because you're feeling overwhelmed, I don't think that should be the reason. Because if there is a very strong dream, and dream can be vague also, does not mean that you are very clear that you want to do ABC. It could be that you want to do something. If you have a dream, then you have to find ways or skills, acquired skills,
Hmm.
grow skills, uh,
Hmm.
find motivation, grow motivation, reduce your spending, become frugal, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
But go behind it. It has to be much bigger than your individual presence.
Hmm.
Unless there are some proven logical reasons, as I
Hmm.
was saying.
Yeah.
So, what it taught me during that time is any movement is growth.
Hmm.
Not everything has to be big bang.
Hmm.
For as long as there is movement, there is growth.
Hmm.
Momentum matters more, right? The first person you are answerable is to yourself.
Yes.
So, even if you have no goals, but you can still figure out that is there a need to take a break,
Hmm.
right? But if you have a goal, then there's no reason to take a break.
Hmm.
Finding discipline helps, taking faster decisions help. Failing fast and not dwelling on it is not dwelling on your failure helps. But those are the skills which you can learn when you stay on a journey, which is what I'm doing. I've done and I'm doing newer
Hmm.
skills.
Hmm.
But having a very basic accountability to self that, okay, I wanted to do something. I'm getting an opportunity. Why am I not going behind it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why not? If anyone else can do it, why can't I do it?
Well said.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to bring you to a different segment now, which is on
Okay.
trust, scale, and ethics. Now, Navneet, when someone trusts you with their narrative, they're trusting you with reputation, right? And sometimes legacy. You worked with marketing teams, founders, CXOs, and institutions of trust. What does trust demand from a storyteller?
Trust demand from a see. I mean, trust demand from a storyteller. Being authentic to the craft. There's a fine balance because if you are in the space of creating a story for a client, then you have to keep the client objective in mind while crafting the story. So that is
Mm-hmm.
so you have to be truthful to both your craft and your profession and your service, which is story, creating the
Yeah,
story, and yet and also to be truthful to the client who's actually showing faith and trust in you.
yeah.
And in case you are creating content, stories, anything for the wider audience,
Hmm.
then you have to be truthful again to yourself and to the audience.
Hmm.
Now that's a very tricky zone because that can go into that what if I want to create something which is unpopular and controversial?
Hmm.
So, right, but my audience won't like it, but I'm being truthful to myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now that's a topic worth debating,
Yeah, hardcore.
uh, hardcore debating. I think the classic example for such is that movie called Chamkila,
Hmm.
which was basically a beautiful story of again an underdog trying to find put and survive by singing songs.
Hmm.
And the audience wanted to listen to them, and he was being paid, he was earning. And
Hmm.
then suddenly someone else came and said, sorry, those songs are controversial, so stop singing.
Hmm.
So where does it leave an artist? So being truthful to your art versus being truthful to the audience, being truthful to your art versus being truthful to your clients or customers.
Hmm.
It's a fine line, and therefore I think trust also uh, has a very close connection with the values. So
Hmm.
wherever you are doubtful, right, you will go to your values, and values can be a bigger, should I say, values can be disguised as trust, or trust is in itself is a value. Even I don't know. But trust is actually being truthful to yourself and to the promise you have made to the customer or to the world,
Hmm.
right? That you will give your best, you will not cut corners, you will try to live up to the values that you have made a commitment for, be it being innovative, be it being like what is being promised is being delivered, be it being timelines, whatever you want to say.
Navneet, beautifully answered. And I think, I don't know
Okay.
how many times will I say, the detailing is so on point.
Okay. Thank
as
you. Thank
like
you,
as
Ekta.
I was expecting. So I, not that I'm surprised, but one wants to listen to you. It's like,
I
keep saying
appreciate you saying
it.
this.
Okay, so
I appreciate.
we spoke about trust. Now comes scale, the word everyone glorifies. And
Yes.
you've said something very interesting. You've said small is solid. Now,
Yeah.
what is scale cost that you're not willing to pay?
Uh, when I said, and I still believe small is solid, means that I believe that you don't need a big army to bring a change. A small army of few passionate, committed,
Hmm.
intelligent people can make a dent, can bring a massive change
Yeah.
to start with, right? So I meant from that perspective.
Hmm.
Uh, for as long as you are doing good work, great work, you are uh, definitely approaching your work from a space of work ethics and integrity.
Yeah.
Scale gets naturally built.
Hmm.
Again, you may want to argue that, okay, but then it can take longer than someone else who's trying to achieve some kind of scale, right? But I also believe the business of storytelling and the kind of person I am, that you can't delegate depth and meaning and just expand the team and bring a scale,
Yeah.
right? Also, it's an entrepreneurial journey that I am on. It's a very independent journey of for me than versus others, right? Where I wanted to from day one focus on being cash positive.
Hmm.
I wanted to stay focused on understanding this industry as I'm not from this industry.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have never held a camera. I had never held a camera. I had never held writing scripts. I was just a marketing consultant doing well for myself and a movie fan.
Hmm.
And yes, being born to a creative set of parents.
Hmm. Hmm.
But beyond that, there was nothing. So I wanted to also spend some time finding my footing.
Hmm.
And most importantly, in my case, I'm sure by now you have picked and your audience would have picked. I was also trying to break a lot of patterns which were not mine,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
overcoming my lack of confidence, overcoming self doubt, trying to ensure that managing. Sorry, you were
I was just gonna say, especially the inner dialogue.
the inner dialogue, overcoming, of course, finding stability with respect to finance,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Becoming financially independent. Also, then each entrepreneurial journey, every single entrepreneurial journey, funded, non-funded, there's an aspect which is not bought out is the role of personal life, which only that person knows, right? What is talked and at times glorified is the success which comes with overcoming obstacles. And
Yeah.
of course, there are some really, really bona fide deserving stories and very inspiring. Even I'm inspired by such stories. Uh, but what happens is also there's an aspect added, which is the time. It
Hmm.
happened very fast, very quick, right? But then each one of us carry a very different personal story, which has to also be addressed while you're building something,
Yeah.
right? So as a result, small is solid, scale definitely gets built up, but in a bootstrap business, which is what I am in, and that too a creative business, service business, stability comes before scale comes.
Hmm. Hmm.
And of course, there are some learnings that you also develop. So I'm not saying that everything has been correctly done by me because of which where I am today, that I'm being called by you on your podcast. I'm saying there's still some learnings that are part of work in progress.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I may have scaled where I am today. I may have been there, say, 3 years ago if I would have not taken some decision. And where I am today, then, like, right? So I don't see this as, again, from any sense of remorse or loss or negative thinking. I'm seeing this as a sense, as long as there's momentum, there is growth. As
Prudent.
long as, yeah, as long as I'm doing well, if my last project was done well, this will be done well.
Yeah.
I also want to ensure that I keep in mind that there is a team I am responsible. So
Yeah.
there. their professional needs, their emotional needs also are my responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Opportunity that they need to be provided, growth that they need to be shown, ability to get exposure they need to be. So now I'm in that zone where I'm grooming them, I'm teaching them, I'm giving them all the exposure and opportunity.
Hmm.
So this is, yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed my journey and I'm enjoying
Perfect.
my journey. But then there are ways I can bring some changes to my journey, which I will, I'm sure.
All right. Perfect. Nicely answered. Now, we're going to talk about something a little broader. Now, much of your work focuses not only on brands and corporates, but also on mental health, ethics, leadership, CSR, and identity. Do you believe brands and creators carry a moral responsibility today? What do you think?
Brands and businesses carry the same kind of responsibility as, or the same kind of moral responsibility as their partners and service providers.
Hmm.
So I will not want to bucket the brand or the business. I will want to bucket myself also in that,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? First point. Every single entity in the in the business world, which is businesses, big, small, from a small shop to a 10,000 crore company to
Yeah.
maybe a 1 lakh crore business group to a service provider, creative company, tech company, whatever you
Hmm.
want to say, they will always respond to the ecosystem to
Hmm.
start with, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And as a result, if the moral compass is changing
Hmm.
or changes, they will naturally respond.
Hmm.
And they're not responding out of any compulsion, but that is a right way.
Hmm.
That is absolutely the right way to respond. Very simple, should I say simplified example would be that if business is not doing well, they will end up giving massive discounts so that they can at least clear their stock, get the customers back, compete in the marketplace, whatever, right? What simplistic. Likewise, when it comes to moral responsibility, yes, taking care of your stakeholders, your employees, your community at large should be part of the ethos, and that is now part of the ethos.
Hmm. Hmm.
Having said that, you should also be alert to the changing moral standards and morality and moral compass in the ecosystem or in the world that you're operating
Hmm.
and respond and react.
Perfect.
Because
Yeah.
in the end, all businesses, any business, again, I'm saying, small, big, does not matter, exist to serve or deliver, right?
Yeah.
So there's no point of them not being able to even serve if they're not trying to respect the standard in which respect the standard of the ecosystem or the society in which they're operating.
Hmm.
So yes, they have a responsibility. They just have a responsibility. It doesn't matter moral or non-moral or immoral. They have a responsibility, right, to show that they care. And absolutely a significant number of businesses show that they care.
All right. Okay. So now that we've spoken about responsibility, um, tell us when a project comes your way, what makes you say yes versus what makes you walk away?
It takes a lot for me to walk away from a business, but what I think when there is a misalignment or a disconnect on the values. Say, for example, if I know that a particular client does not come with the set of values that will make the entire collaboration very joyful,
Yeah.
I may be open to the idea of walking away.
Okay.
Again, I may be open.
Maybe.
Yeah. Till now, I don't think we have walked away on on issues around integrity or responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
If at all, there has always been, which is the standard, is around the value, pricing, scope of work, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's where it is. What makes me stay for any business, of course, is work. So there's no
Hmm.
reason for me to say no.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like bring it on. I
Yeah.
also know because I have done ticket sizes as low as 30,000 rupees to as high as possible in my journey.
Hmm.
So I also know that when a client is coming, if that client is a respected, reputed corporate,
Hmm.
there's no reason why a project which is perceivably of a small ticket size.
Yeah.
can't open doors to something
Yeah.
as big as uh, a dream for a big company,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So as I said, I'm trying to build Unhide as a with a builder mindset,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Like, yeah, with a builder mindset that keep building,
Hmm.
keep delivering, keep building. Logically and naturally, your value will come out. You will ask for value. You will be paid your value, by the way.
Hmm.
And when that starts happening, a lot of clients will not reach out to you. They will get filtered out, or
Hmm.
they will be they will take it well if you say no.
Okay, Navneet, we've had really interesting discussion by far. I'm going to touch upon a topic which is slightly more heavier. I'm going to use
Okay.
more because we've had deeper conversations. This is the topic where we're probably going to touch upon loss, solitude, as well as optimism. Here goes the first question in this segment, which is losing your mother at 60 and your father at 66, not long after. How did grief change your sense of time and urgency?
So my mother's loss did hit me really bad.
Hmm.
Uh, my dad's loss, to be honest, and in a very respectful manner, didn't hit me or affect me as such.
Okay.
Uh, Grief as a concept is something which is very close to me because I've experienced different stages of grief and all. Having said that, I have realized about myself that I actually inherently I end up responding to the environment, to the situation. So when I lost my mom, say maybe first few days I may have definitely, wept and expressed my emotions and cried and all. But then get up, get going.
Hmm.
That also, by the way, is part of my upbringing that there's no reason to spend some time.
Sit and wallow.
Yeah, exactly. You will be surprised that, uh, my younger brother was getting married, and on the day when it was his wedding, I actually went for a business meeting after the ceremony.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and because again, this came that if there's a commitment, if there's work, if there is opportunity around work, don't let go of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Likewise, if there is a loss, don't spend much time on it. Likewise, right? So
Yeah.
as a result, losing mom and dad, of course, at younger age, I will say that I will say I miss them now, where I would like to share my life journey, show them whatever I've covered, whatever I want to cover, and all.
And indulge them.
Indulge them, of course, indulge them. I mean, the fact that when I show them means naturally it'll get in that zone, celebrate it them with them and all, versus them. Because as I said, there was chaos, simply put. There was chaos in daily life. There was not definitely there was no stability, but there were illnesses at home, like diseases, illnesses. So that was taking away a lot of attention. After mom passing away, dad needed a lot of attention, health, medical. There were some emotional family issues. So as a result, the point was that keep doing what you're doing.
Hmm.
Simply don't try to change much. Even I wanted to, then also don't try to change much. That's my learning, by the way. Keep doing, and then one day things will happen when you can put your foot down and demand what you want. But at that time, I didn't. Grief, I experienced grief is around the time when I disengaged with my family, by the way, which is when I was
Which
completely.
which actually brings me to the next question. So let me also just say it because I feel like we're in the way where you're just sharing. You stepped away from family for nearly 5 years, which we figured during our research. That wasn't a small decision. Tell us, what did solitude teach you at that point in time?
Yeah, I think I will give my it's 2020 when I started my second life and I disengaged and I started staying by myself completely. Uh, and when I say started staying by myself means I was not in touch with anyone I grew up with
Okay. Okay.
at all, at all. So of course my parent had passed away and I had completely disengaged. So I will give that as the time when I started understanding who I am, finding my voice, experiencing grief, experiencing pain, loneliness, living with your thoughts, struggling to enjoy your company, getting rid of other voices in your mind, taking decisions as simple as uh, like because I live by myself, so running your home, so understanding where do you get your grocery from, to bigger decisions about a project getting executed on time, to meeting or facing uh, genuinely correct but difficult questions from clients, to celebrating client wins, to finding out what friendship is, what family is. That, by the way, is interesting. It's a question I keep asking my some of members in my family, extended family, and all. Ki, what is family and what is friends? And they
Hmm.
laugh. I said because I have not understood. It's only now I'm understanding, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
I even asked I asked my therapist thing, what is forgiveness? I don't know how to forgive. And I mean, it's not that I don't want to, but how to forgive. Hota kya, like bolna ki I've forgiven you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And therefore, right, like that's the base I was starting with. So solitude really, really uh, taught me that you better become comfortable with who you are and
Hmm.
you mend the relationship with yourself,
Hmm.
right? Before you go out and look for relationship with someone else at in any capacity.
Hmm.
In a way, unless you are not comfortable, at peace, or you are aware about your own inadequacies or incompleteness, or you are unhappy, or you're with your happiness and all, you will always look for those things outside, and it will always be a disappointment.
Hmm.
But if you are broadly more or less at peace, it's a work in progress. Being very honest here, it's absolutely work in progress, right? If you're comfortable with your voice and you're comfortable with the decision you're taking, chances are that you will end up building better relationships
Hmm.
because you will only attract such people. You will only allow such people. You
Hmm.
will be able to develop a skill of discernment, knowing this person is not a good energy person, this energy person is a good energy person. And that reflects at work also. You will be far more calmer, far more patient. You will find your voice. You will also know how much to take disrespectful behavior versus how much to forgive,
Hmm.
how much to allow versus how much to completely disengage, when to
Got it.
put your foot down, when to voice your displeasure. वो
Hmm.
बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है एक मेरे एक्सपीरियंस में तो वो मेरे को सॉलिट्यूड ने ही सिखाया बिकॉज इन अ वे आई वाज सेइंग इट वाज माय रीबर्थ एंड आई टुक अ लॉट ऑफ डिसीजंस right wrong I don't know but today when I look back I'm proud of myself. I'll be honest with you, yeah. Today, as we speak on this podcast, I will say I'm absolutely incredibly proud of myself with all the decisions I've taken. Some of them have paid off in very tangible way. Some of them have not paid off in tangible way, but still favorably. And some of them have really, really, really shaken me. But I'm extremely proud. Absolutely no regret. And I'm as excited for the work I do as I was when I started this or when I started my career in 2004.
All right, perfect. I am going to take the liberty of getting you to the next question in this very moment because we're talking about something which is, you just mentioned that you're immensely proud. Well, you call yourself a die-hard optimist, not naive, but earned, like you just mentioned. What keeps hope alive after repeated disappointments, also? Give us the tea.
When I think when I look back, I think that's how I'm built. So significant part again will go to upbringing and the lessons I got from my parents, especially when they were going through uh, a lot of negativity. I'll tell you one episode. That episode is very deep, clearly entrenched. So we were facing massive financial struggle and losses, massive.
Mhm.
So someone told my mother that there is a Gurdwara in West Delhi. So if you go there every Tuesday, five continuous week, right, things will change,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure you will understand that this is a very typical suggestion that comes
Yeah.
out of good intent,
Yes.
but it's a route that is suggested very often.
Hmm.
So my mother decided to go, and I decided to accompany her.
Mm.
So even during that time when I used to accompany her and we used to go in the evening, once in a while in bus, once in a while in auto, right? And this is we were in Model Town, North Delhi, and we used to go to a place called Tilak Nagar, which is West
Mm.
Delhi.
Yes.
Okay. Even when we used to go there, she used to go there with the same enthusiasm, like the way she will go to any social gathering or any family gathering when things are fine. You know,
Okay.
like when things are fine, you enter a place very differently. When things are
Yeah.
not fine, you. In her case, I never saw a
The
side which to
energy
the
drop.
world ever, never, ever, ever, ever. Like till the last day of her life, never. I can't even associate a moment that she ever. I saw her. Of course, she had. She was diagnosed with breast cancer last stage. So she, from the diagnosis to her death, was probably just 1.5 months.
Okay.
Got diagnosed in May, and we lost her in July. Simply put, I mean that of course is a different impact. But as a human being, as a person, I never saw her losing hope.
Mm.
Now, whether that came from her confidence in her ability to, a warrior seeks her,
Hmm.
or her love for education, which gave her confidence,
Hmm.
intelligence, or her own faith, I don't know. Rather, you'll be surprised. My dad used to always say towards his last fag end of his life, saying that I think I could have been a better husband. I did not see your mom being such a strong defender.
Hmm.
So therefore, I will associate hope to my mom than my dad. Incredible hope and optimist. If yeah, it's inbuilt, and therefore, then of course after that, stories at home, loving all the underdog movies from Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar growing up, right?
Yeah.
So for that matter, to even DDLJ, the fact that the guy went and got Simran, right? Like you can always find uh, the the
Drawback.
overcoming obstacle arc in
Yeah.
even the love stories in India, by the way.
Yeah.
Right?
We
Like
should
say it's
do
like
a
this
watch.
ki it's like this ki अगर ये कर सकते हैं तो साला कोई भी कर सकता है. इसने भी कुछ ना कुछ किया तो इसको मिल गया तो तुम भी कर सकते हो. Like
Yeah.
you don't articulate like that when you're growing up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
now articulate when you look back.
It eats somewhere, na? It eats like
It
that.
is absolutely. I think that's the right word. So yeah, that seeding about not giving up. I'll also be honest with you. Is a underlying trait in the three of us, the three brothers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm very confident about it. Like it's like, of course, different individuals, but yes.
All
And I'm
right.
I'm really proud of that also as a part of my lineage.
Okay. Shifting the tangent again. Now we're moving to legacy and future. You often speak about cycles. You've said that you're hell bent on breaking the cycle, not for status, but for closure. What cycle are you determined to break?
Uh, Cycle of continuous failures that I think as a family I saw growing up. Cycle of uh, low self-worth behavior because of which uh, certain things happened which left me disappointed. So all the cycle of negativity, right? Uh, yeah. I think yes, that is what I would want to cycle of my own patterns. I
Hmm.
am sure I also could have been a better person, better individual, better sibling, better son, better friend, maybe a better partner, uh, for sure, 100%. So I want to therefore break that cycle also, like that I don't want to live in past. I want to forgive myself, forgive others. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I think that comes, and of course, cycle of the fact that just because things didn't happen earlier in business success, whether in family or even in my earlier attempt, does not mean that it will not happen. It will
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, it will happen.
Alrighty. Let's talk beyond business. Your long term dream is to build a school of creativity. What do you want future creators to unlearn first?
Future creators to unlearn first. One, they need to unlearn that they can unlearn. So they have to get rid of the mental block that comes saying that, okay, it is discomforting, but it is not impossible. So they have to break that mental block that, okay, I have spent 20 years, 25, 30 years, 40 years. I
Yeah.
can't undo. So that's a mental block.
Hmm.
I can beat any profession, but in case of creative profession, uh, keeping yourself open to all experiences, good, bad, ugly, right, wrong, disappointment, betrayals, success, failures, right? Trying to see them objectively more than subjectively. Because
Hmm.
when you see these things objectively, you can always learn something new and then try to articulate them to yourself and bring it out in your work,
Hmm.
right? Third, I will say that upskilling yourself is critical.
Hmm.
And upskilling is also important not only because of AI, but otherwise also to staying relevant. Fourth, there is no shortcut. No
Hmm.
matter whatever, as I said, Instagram, WhatsApp, universities tell us, there are no shortcuts. Fifth, a creative profession is deeply about observing life, deeply like. So as soon as one realizes that there is magic in being silent, being an observer, living in solitude, it's absolutely, absolutely fine because it's very important to understand life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the another point can be possible, do take therapy. It help you find yourself, become
Hmm.
self-aware. Another point could be remember that fragility is a more important trait than the success that we will get. So as a result, don't fly high. There is magic in remaining humble
Hmm.
because just because someone is creative or someone is proven creative does not mean that it they will remain. You know that gift will remain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, unlearn those things, then learn these things. Maybe this is something which I keep telling myself also,
Hmm.
right? And yes, please, 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 please study work of people who have done well or who are doing better, regardless of the environment. Uh, right, very and detailing. One thing which I keep telling my team, which I will also inculcate in my school, is about detailing. And that comes from being a critical and a deep thinker. That you want to detail everything, every sentence, every full stop, every dialogue, placing everything. Unless that happens, sorry,
Hmm.
your work will reflect poorly. But if
Hmm.
that can happen, then absolutely.
Hmm.
And yeah, and keep having little fun.
Hmm.
Surround yourself with good people. Go out, have some fun, enjoy, eat well, drink well if you guys do. In case you're not, then also is okay. And yeah, be sincere but not serious.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Don't take life so seriously.
Do you think we can say that stories or lessons we want to tell the world are the stories we first want to say to ourselves?
Yes and no, it starts from there, but it is not the only way. The You can still be uncomfortable or uneasy in your personal life, but still deliver well. So I will not, right? Like you can still deliver well because that's a skill.
Hmm.
So you are using your skill to tell story.
Hmm.
But yes, the story you tell yourself, which is when you are in a good space, then of course it reflects better in the way you conduct yourself in the outside world and therefore work. But not necessary that you need to tell a good story to yourself to tell good story to the world.
Hmm.
That's ideal, but you can still tell a good story to outside.
Yeah.
Just because of one big reason, which is another thing is that if you're inherently, as I said, an observant for life,
Hmm.
right? If you're empathetic, then chances that you will understand life and tell stories.
Perfect.
You
Yeah.
may be going through not a best phase in life, but if you are moderately empathetic and observant, you can come up with something.
Hmm. All right, I'm going to bring you to something more personal. If
Okay.
success arrived tomorrow in its fullest form, what would still matter?
Definitely fulfillment and satisfaction in the work, uh, ability to take the team along with me and see them comfortable, joyful, happy, at peace, and be proud of the work we have done, proud of the success we have achieved. Uh, Work ethics will matter. Uh, yeah, and also the fact that I hope whatever happens, I'm working till the last day. For me, that will be success, by the way.
Hmm.
For me, that will be success. That if I if I if I meet my end while I'm working, I'll be, yeah, regardless of wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, in what part of the world, in what state I am, I'll be the happiest person. Happiest is like understatement. There will be no word to express my joy, knowing that it's like this. Okay, I was working till the last day, last minute,
Hmm.
and constructive work. I'm not talking about hobbies, by the way. So I'm not saying that, I'm doing something. No, constructive work. I'm adding value to my own life. I'm adding value to someone who has shown trust. I'm adding value to unhide. I'm adding value to the team. But I am doing, and of course, unhide will survive me. So that's another conviction I am aware about and I'm working toward, and I know. So yeah, that's the reason I said I'll be the happiest and proudest.
Alrighty. Okay, finally, what does accountability mean to you now as an individual, not just a founder?
Being able to apologize for things that you could have done better or differently, proactively. So accountability for me comes from a deep, deep desire that become proactive in apologizing, or become proactive when you are being called out. So you just say sorry,
Hmm.
right? You don't run away just because you've not been called out,
Hmm.
right? So that is where accountability also comes. That it's like this. Like, judge me if you judge me on the same standard as you want to be judged. Like,
Hmm.
there's a concept of golden rule in philosophy,
Yeah.
that treat others the way you want to be treated.
Hmm.
So I think that's accountability.
All right.
Uh, Correct. And yeah, and also accountability comes from within. Accountability does not come from the surface level. A lot of people, I believe, say sorry, but give very surface level reasoning.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and then they also believe that the other person may have not picked it and all, but everyone picks it.
That's
So
what I wanted
account,
to say. I said you can feel if a person genuinely means.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I agree with you. You can feel, but accountability also comes by the way that there is change behavior,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Accountability is not just owning up your mistake
Yeah.
and agreeing to the miss or whatever.
Yeah.
Accountability is also that you are very conscious it doesn't get repeated. In case it gets repeated, again you become proactive.
Yeah.
But you are very conscious on working on yourself to ensure that that pattern that brings discomfort to the other person, or to your environment, that reduces.
Mm. Alrighty, Navneet, we've come
Ekta,
towards the last question.
last
And
question. I think
finally,
I
yes.
I'll have I think I'm looking forward to dinner on a Sunday. I've never looked like I'm so looking forward to my dinner on Sunday after a beautiful, awesome conversation. I
Yeah.
think it was nothing short of a 21-kilometer marathon.
Uh, well, of course, I'm going to take all the credit in prepping, but obviously,
Absolutely, you
help a
deserve
lot
it.
in research. All right. That brings us to the last question, which is at this stage of your life, what are you most unapologetic about?
I think I'm most unapologetic about the life I've lived, the choices I've made, the decisions I've taken, taken and the consequences I've faced. Uh, I'm also unapologetic about my behavior. Of course, it could have been much better than I would have wherever if I have, let someone down. But the reason I'm saying I'm unapologetic because I've already genuinely apologized wherever. I'm also unapologetic about my passion, my commitment, my love for detailing. I have massive OCD that comes out in my work. Uh, and yeah, and who I am. Absolutely. I think, yeah, it's incredibly gratifying and yeah, deeply grateful for every single thing that has happened in my life till date. And I'm very confident it'll only be onward and upwards from now.
Let's go. Alrighty. Super grateful that, again, such a long conversation, deep conversation, reflective conversation. I mean, I've had chills multiple times when I was listening to you. And like I said, those phrases, those were icing on the cake. And I'm sure the listeners, viewers will also find this episode equally enriching. I want to know
I hope
your
so.
thoughts on what do you feel about the conversation, the content. What do you feel about this episode?
I enjoyed it. I think the kind of questions you asked, even I was not expecting that we'll have such a long conversation. But the best part was that it was engaging continuously. So first, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for giving me the space to be me, because the kind of questions you have asked are more about the inside and the depth. They're definitely on the heavier side than usually what people associate a podcast with,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I really appreciate you putting in effort, trying to understand who I am, asking me questions, allowing me to be myself. So thank you so much for having me. I do believe that the way you ask questions and that gets reflected in the way you listen. You're asking question not just for the heck because it's a podcast, but you are actually embodying the entire the curious personality you are. Podcast is just a medium for you to achieve that. So yes, I hope your audience enjoyed as much as I enjoyed, having this conversation with you. In
Especially
case
on week.
they, especially on a weekend, that's okay. And in case they find it boring or dull, my apologies. But I was
Which
just
is
trying
not
to
going
be,
to be the case.
I was just trying to be unapologetically me.
Yes. Okay. Oh my God, that is such a nice closing. But for everything that you're giving me credit, which I'm going to take sincerely with all my heart, but also want to say that again, I'm going to say it. It takes a lot of guts to open up and peel up layers of your personal life so much honestly and share your journey with all the heart. So, kudos to you, and just super grateful that you felt that this was a space where you could open up and share and make it meaningful so that people can also benefit from this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be happy if someone can benefit from whatever I have shared. If any part of my responses and my journey resonates well with someone, uh, yeah, I mean, I'll be really, really happy. In the practical world, of course, nothing beats action, timing, and commitment towards the work. So, while of course this conversation happened more in the non-practical world, non-practical way, maybe that was the theme of this podcast. But yes, there is absolutely no reason for someone not to continue giving and continue going, keep
Hmm.
walking, and keep unhiding.
Yes, yes. On that note, I'm going to close the episode. For everyone listening, some conversations leave you with ideas, some leave you with inspiration, and some leave you with the permission to be human and ambitious at the same time. This was not a conversation about creativity, it was a conversation about courage, the kind that doesn't announce itself, about choosing truth over polish, depth over speed, healing over hiding. If storytelling shapes culture, then this conversation was an act of cultural responsibility. This is Unapologetic Me, and this conversation with Navneet Ahuja now belongs to you. I'm your host, Ekta. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, stay unapologetic.